Morning. Well, it's been a while since I've been here, and the boat is now in a state where it needs to be fully sanded before it can be painted. So I've got the paints, and it's going to need 2 coats of primer and then 2 coats of top coat. I'm also going to mask off certain areas like the deck and possibly the seat tops and maybe the aft transom. Still haven't 100% decided on that yet, which bits. And I'm going to mask them off and leave them unpainted, and then I'm going to varnish over that because you can't leave any of the epoxy unprotected. But at least then that will give a little bit of wood look to certain aspects of the boat. Otherwise it's just going to be all white, which would be very boring. So painting is coming up, but in order to get to the painting stage I've got to get all the sanding done, and it does take a lot of time, especially inside where there's all those little edges and corners and stuff to get through. So I've been through a lot of sandpaper already, and I've just bought a load more, so I'm going to have to get on my hands and knees and get this done. So it's going to be probably 3 or 4 hours of that today. But more interestingly, and just to break things up a little bit, I've also got to work out a system for keeping the oars in place while on the move. I've bought these aluminium oars. They were kind of mid-range, so not the cheapest, not the most expensive, but what seemed like a good compromise. But fortunately they do just fit in the aft section. So what I've found is that if I just lay them like that, they will fit. So my thought is that at the far end I'm going to use a piece of hardwood and I'm going to epoxy that in place, and I'm going to drill, or core rather, a hole to take the end of the oar, like that. So that will go into a little hole at the end of the transom there, like that. And then it will get bungeed in place here at the front. Now the seat blocks are in a perfect place to take a bungee strap, so I just need to figure out some way of attaching a bungee cord to them. But I'm also going to need another block at the bottom. So really that's what the second part of today is going to be about. It's going to be coming up with a scheme for securing those in place. It's going to be a bit of a mental break from just kneeling down doing sanding all day. So a little bit of both today. Let's get cracking. Okay then, so a quick update on what I've managed to achieve so far this morning. I came up with the first design to put some blocks on either side of the transom, and I drilled a couple of holes in one of the blocks and put some bungee through it. But when I tried it, it didn't really work out very well. It didn't really hold the oar in position at all. So I've come up with a slightly new design, which is to hold the oar from the side. So I've cut a 4-inch piece of hardwood and then just shaved the edge slightly, and then I've cut a circular piece out like this. So the idea is, and then drill 2 holes. So the idea is the bungee cord will go through there, that side like that, and it will stop with a knot, stop a knot. I'll push it through on that side to create a loop, and that will create a loop like this, and then that will be used to secure the oar in position. So the idea is this will be glued in position here, and then the oar, I want to put it into the boat, we'll just slot through there, push into place, and that will be held securely at this end so it can't go anywhere. So both oars then will be secured at the back. So the next step is create some kind of restraint for the oar at the front end. Okay, so let's crack on. Well, I spent yesterday afternoon and 3 hours this morning sanding the underside of both halves of the boat. So the outside now of both halves is ready for painting. So that's what I'm going to do this afternoon. So I've got a tin of T-Mac marine primer undercoat. So that's white. So I'm going to give them 2 coats of that. So I'm going to do 1 coat today, leave it overnight, and then do a 2nd coat tomorrow. So the room needs to be well ventilated. This needs to be sanded down, so that's all done. I've given it a rub over with some thinners just to take any contaminants off. So for example, any residue from any kind of sticky tape I've had on there at all, that leaves behind a little bit of stickiness, doesn't it? So that's taken off. I've got my roller tray, a trusty roller with a new, and also a brush for the kind of corners and fine areas. So I've got my face mask with a gas-based ventilator on it for vapour, and I'm also going to wear a couple of nitrile gloves just to keep my paint off my hands. So forward section, aft section, and I'm also going to do the seat. So the seat has already been sanded, so that's also ready to go. I'm going to give that a coat, 2 coats of primer as well, 1 today, 1 tomorrow. I was thinking about leaving the seat like wood, but in the end I've decided to paint it white because it might make it look more part of the boat and less likely to be pinched. Okay, because it's not actually attached to the boat. So that's everything just about set. I just need to get a stick so I can stir the paint and then pour it out and see how it goes. Right, wish me luck. Okay, so that's it for this weekend. I've got the wooden blocks glued inside and they've had 2 coats of epoxy, so I'll probably need a 3rd one at some point. And I've also managed to get all of the sanding done on both hulls, and then I've got these hulls set up upside down and they've had 2 coats of primer. So that was applied with the roller, and I've gone through pretty much one full tin of paint, and I've got 2, so that's good because it means I got the quantities just about right. So the other tin should be just enough for the inside. So next time I'm going to put the undercoat primer on the inside, which I think I'm going to need a little bit less because there's going to be some areas that don't get covered in paint and left bare wood. So I know I'm going to have I'm pretty sure I'm going to have enough. So the seat has also got 2 coats, and I'm going to put 2 coats on the rudder and the centreboard next time, because they're in the water, and they're going to get scratched and scraped when they touch things like the seabed, reeds, anything that's in the water. Then I'm going to paint them rather than leaving them wood and varnishing them. But I will varnish the rudder stock and the tiller. That's going to stay natural. So 2 more things to undercoat next time. So that's good. That means I can do both hulls on the inside, and then the centreboard I can do on the rig, and I'll just have to find somewhere to put the rudder itself. So that might need to get done in 2 stages, being clamped to one of the stands. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So see you next time. Okay, so that's the end of another video. Remember, if you'd like to receive notifications when new videos are posted, then subscribe by clicking on the link down below. And if you've enjoyed watching the video, just please leave a like. Cheers.